the skeleton of an ancient Cyclops discovered in northern Greece in the city of Kozani. This is an article from a Greek newspaper from 1931. Now, as we all know, ancient Greece was very ancient. It was also home to mythological creatures. If you see the frieze of the Parthenon of the Acropolis, it's as if they were human hybrids. You know, half horse, half man, half goat, half man, half snake, whatever you want. And they even had these giant cyclops with one eye in the middle of their forehead. This is a vase depicting Ulysses with his sailor mates, and he's blinding the Cyclops in his eye. After he got him drunk, he was able to blind him in his one eye, and that's how they escaped. That's how the story goes. But we know that there were various creatures. Now, where are these skeletons, even giants? Okay, we know, I've heard of archaeologists, paleontologists that found giants in the mountains around Athens, and they were whisked away by government officials, never to be seen again, these ancient giant skeletons. Anyway, we're talking here about the skeleton of the Cyclops that was discovered in Kozani of northern Greece in 1931. So, in February 1931, in the region of Kozani of northern Greece, and in particular in the area between the villages of Eratira and Trapezitsa, after very heavy rains, there were heavy landslides that occurred. The team of technicians, the workers who undertook to clear the area from these huge amounts of mountains and landslides, volumes of soil that came down, was in front of a startling spectacle. They found something very startling. An ancient marble tomb of colossal dimensions revealed its strange secrets. After many hours of hard work, the crew members finally managed to move the huge plates that covered the relics that were inside. And lying deep in the grave, there was a giant human skeleton, both in volume and in height. For the time being, it was considered that the skeleton was not a human being, as they could not identify the niches of where his eye sockets were. All that stood out was a hole in the front. But there was a mouth, nose, ears, and in general the whole of the human skull. The most educated of the attendants claimed that what lay before them was the skeleton of a Cyclops. His skull weighed about 45 pounds, sorry, no, not 45 pounds, 45 kilos, so that's over 90 pounds. The skull alone weighed 45 kilos, and each hand had the weight of 25 kilos. Therefore, only the head alone, the skull alone, and the two hands of this giant weighed at least 95 kilos. That's over 200 pounds. Until then, the Cyclops were considered to be mythological creatures. Mythology describes them as people of enormous size and power, with superhuman muscular power, superhuman strength, who brought a single eye to the center of their foreheads. And indeed, according to the rich Greek mythology, it was the Cyclops who built the famous Cyclopean walls. We're talking about megastructures, okay? So it was Cyclopeans, the Cyclops, who built megastructures, megalithic, structures with megalithic walls, which consisted of huge boulders in various citadels of ancient Greece, most famously those in Tirinth, which is towards the Peloponnese, around Corinth. Around Corinth, yes. Now, another description of the Cyclops, perhaps best known, was presented in Homer's Odyssey, Ulysses, right? Where the handsome Ulysses blinded the one-eyed Cyclops named Polyphemus, whose dimensions, characteristics, and general appearance matched with the one that was found in Tiryns and in Mycene. The Ministry of Education ordered the Macedonian Antiquities of northern Greece, the Antiquities Commissioner, to go to the site and conduct investigation. And his conclusion was eagerly awaited. And this was printed as news on the nightly newspaper called Vradini, which means nightly. Date February 27, 1931. We don't have the conclusion as to the findings, what the Ministry of Education, Macedonian Antiquities Commissioner concluded concerning this skeleton. I would venture to say that they whisked him off and hid him somewhere. That's the way it usually goes with these things. So I guess it wasn't myth. It was also the fact that they did exist. And they tell us that they were the humanoids or gigantic humans that built the megalithic structures that are found, not just in Greece, but in Egypt, in Arabia, even North and South America. Hopefully we'll find more about this. This is very interesting, don't you think? Now here we have a painting of the Cyclops that Ulysses blinded in the middle of his eye, the middle of his forehead. The Cyclops Polyphemus. It's a painting by Johann Henrik Wilhelm Tischbein, dated 1802. And from what Wikipedia says, Greek mythology and later Roman mythology, the Cyclops, meaning circle eyes or round eyes, singular is Cyclops and plural is Cyclops. Three groups of Cyclops can be distinguished in Hesiod's Theogony. They are the brothers, Brontes, Steropes, and Argus, who provided Zeus with his weapon, the thunderbolt. In Homer's Odyssey, they are an uncivilized group of shepherds, the brethren of Polyphemus, this guy here that was blinded by Ulysses, encountered by Ulysses. Cyclopes were famous as the builders of the Cyclopean walls of Mycene and Tiryns. And the Cyclopean walls are pretty big. I mean, you can't really make heads or tails out of it from the pictures. And the pictures coming up, to you it would look like rubble, but it's not. It's they're pretty heavy, some of these things. Now, we have to realize that Mycene in Argos, near Sparta actually, was the place of the Danites. The Spartans were the tribe of Dan, one of the tribes of Israel, okay, of the Exodus. The tribe of Dan were definitely from Sparta, and in fact, the Greeks called them Danaus, meaning Danites. And there's a saying, beware of Greeks bearing gifts. You know what they say in Greek? Na prosέχεις τους Danaus. They don't call them Greeks, they call them Danites. Okay? The Spartans were Danites, judges, Danites, and they were very fierce fighters. So, the Hesiodic Cyclops, the Theogony 700 BC describes the Cyclops Brontes, Steropes, and Argus, who were the sons of Uranus, the sky, and Gaia, the earth, and the brothers of Titans and hundred-handers, who had a single eye set in the middle of their foreheads. They made for Zeus his all-powerful thunderbolt, and in so doing, the Cyclops played a key role in the Greek succession myth, which told how the Titan Kronos overthrew his father Uranus, and how in turn Zeus overthrew Kronos and his fellow Titans, and how Zeus was eventually established as the final and permanent ruler of the cosmos. And the names that Hesiod gives them is Brontes, meaning thunder, Steropes, meaning lightning, and Argus, meaning bright, reflect their fundamental roles as thunderbolt makers. As early as the late 7th century BC, the Cyclops could be used by the Spartan poet Tyrtaeus to epitomize extraordinary size and strength. Anyway, that's the mythology of these people, these things. Cyclopean wall builders, you can, we'll get into that another time, but that's very interesting because some of these are the things that, were put in, the kind that you see even in Pumapunko and areas where you can't even put a razor blade through the stones because they're so packed together, very, very strangely. So these were supposedly the builders on these walls, and they had advanced technology from what they say here. I'll leave links below for you for this. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.